Hello everyone, MrAweshum here, checking out the STG 44, or also known as the Sturmgewehr. So let's start off with the stats. Alright, so Germany's assault rifle. Damage 34. That's not terrible. That's a 3-shot kill against nobody with heavyset. And you can mod it, add maybe 3 to 4 damage and make it a 3-shot kill against silver for sure. Not sure about the gold heavyset. Rate of fire 514, very very low compared to other SMGs and even the light machine guns. Near range 35 meters, which means that you get the standard 34 damage out to 35 meters. 35, I mean, I guess it is an assault rifle, so it's to be expected that the near range is going to be that low since it's, say, 15 meters longer than a SMG and 15 meters shorter than an LMG, so I guess that is to be expected. Ammunition, 30 in the clip, so average, same with a SMG, and the reload, 3.2 seconds, same around the same time as a SMG, so pretty decent in that. Equipment points, 7 slots. This is where things start to get pretty bad. You have to run the Sturmgewehr with the 8 slots if you want max ammo, which will be about 360. Yeah, you can run 7 slots and have 180, but then you're only gonna have 3 slots left over for what, like maybe a 1-slot pistol and an anti-tank grenade. I guess that's not terrible build. Or you'd have to lower the equipment points down to say 6 and then have, say, a bolt action with 4 and then use Hoarder to just give you ammo on both your weapons. So the equipment points, not the greatest with this gun. Credit cost 208k. I mean, it's sort of to be expected. It's your 12th grade Infantry Assault weapon, so 200k, bit on the high side for that as well. Since you do need the Infantry Assault 12th grade, you're going to be grinding a semi-automatic or a bolt action for quite a while to get up to that point, or find either faction's 12th grade weapon, whether it's Sturmgewehr, AVS, or M2 carbine, to grind up to this gun. So now for modding. Alright, so checking out the modding now for the Sturmgewehr. It's pretty mandatory to get the bullet, and you only have 1 bullet to choose from. Yes, you lose a bit of accuracy and stability, but it's necessary to get the damage, which should give you a 3-shot kill within 75 meters compared to the 40 meters that you would get before. So effectively doubling your effective damage on the gun. So 3-shot at 75 meters. Honestly, it depends. Say if you're only using this gun for close quarters, I don't really like it for close quarters. I like it for more of the mid-range combat, so anything out to 75 meters is great. As far as sights go, you got 2 major options here. You can go with a scope, which will give you a much better view of your enemy, and you can even say you'll be shooting at the guy, you'll be able to follow the path of your bullets straight into him, and even burst fire with the scope. So this is, I would use the scope for mid-range combat. If you're more of, say, a close range person, the field adjusted sights will give you some much needed precision on your gun. It really depends on your play style that you use with the gun. As far as other modding goes, you're sitting at 514 rate of fire, and these 2 trigger as well as internal, they both give you the exact same amount of rate of fire to boost you up to 553. For this, I only like to use one of these mods. I find that I like having more rate of fire on the gun to boost it up a bit, give it an extra 40 rate of fire, But I find that even with the 40 rate of fire extra, it does jump around enough, so I don't want to boost it up even more. You can go for 600, but I'd say 600 is really only useful for close quarters, or if you're just, say, tap firing at mid-range. So for that, I really only like running the trigger, and I believe the trigger is also cheaper than the spring. As far as a barrel go, you don't need the barrel. It doesn't give you enough to make it worthwhile. Now, as far as extras go, because the Sturmgewehr takes up 7 slots, you'll probably use the 8th slot for an extra ammo bag, which leaves you only with 2 slots, so mainly you'll have either a grenade or some form of anti-tank, such as the AT grenade or RPGs. You could use a pistol as a sidearm to help you get your reload off if you're unsure if you can get your reload off. The gun has a good reload at 3 seconds, so it's fast enough. You should be okay to just run the weapon with some sort of AT. I find that to be one of the best builds with it. Now, as far as badges go, I really like fast reload with this gun. Much like all, say, SMGs or LMGs, fast reload is just your go-to badge. Other badges that are good are tight grip, which is mainly only good if you're using the scope to just help you with the cone expansion, because the scope can be a little inaccurate, so tight grip will give you a lot more consistency. Pointer quickfire is actually also a decent badge to pick up, just for that hipfire accuracy, since the Sturmgewehr, the hipfire on Sturmgewehr isn't actually that terrible, so the pointer quickfire, I've had some good success with that. And if you're really into it, yes, you can go camouflage. I've used it before with a scope. It's pretty funny if you're holding on top of a rooftop. But again, mainly, #1 choice, fast reload. So that's about all that. Now I'll get into some gameplay. So let's start off with just some hip fire here on the Sturmgewehr. You're inside a building. As long as you're aiming for basically where your crosshair is, your bullets are going to land somewhere inside that crosshair, and the hip fire is pretty decent. Just keep the target inside the crosshairs, maybe follow a little bit of the bullet pathing, and you should be fine. Using a scope indoors is sometimes difficult, so getting some extra range so you can just nail your targets is good. Mid-range combat, there's a bit of spread on the bullet. That's about 50 meters. So, but still, you can still nail shots. Now, long-range combat, say 75 plus meters, pretty much what you should do is tap fire, and it's really only useful if you have a scope, but you can make long-range shots. So again, mainly if you're holding a capture point down, you're going to be relying on your hip fire and just being patient with the gun to hit your shots. Since it does have the lower rate of fire, you can take an extra little bit of time to line up your shots and use your Sturmgewehr for mid-range combat. The accuracy is actually fairly decent. Once you've played a couple games with it, you'll notice that the accuracy isn't really that terrible. I'd say the only thing you might run into with having problems is you fighting, like, I know, like close range building fights against people that have very high rate of fire, submachine guns or LMGs. The Sturmgewehr just it doesn't really do the best at super close range against, say, 720, 800, 1000 rate of fire. Those pretty much those crazy rate of fires. You'll most likely have issues. But apart from that, I do like the Sturmgewehr for just it's a fun gun to run around with. I know it's not like my first choice, but it's still a solid gun once you play a few rounds with it, and you'll notice once you get some accuracy control, you you can start hitting some shots, you can start getting some people real angry at you, and I know the scope isn't for everybody, but it really comes down to your playstyle with the gun. So I'll leave you guys with the rest of the footage here. It's about 4 minutes or so. Hope you enjoy, and I'll be back for pros and cons. Alright, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed it. So let's go check out some pros and cons now. Starting off with the cons here. The STG's got medium rate of fire. You can mod it for the 553 or even 600 if you want to go that far. So definitely lower rate of fire than, say, submachine gun or some of the light machine guns, but better rate of fire than semi-autos, and it's just kind of in the middle part there. So medium ROF. Accuracy, this gun, it does struggle a little bit on some ranges with the accuracy. I know when I was using it with just the standard iron sights, it was getting a bit difficult to hit targets even past 30 meters with it. so I always wanted to use a scope. And when using a scope, definitely makes hitting targets within the 30-40 meters a lot easier, but anything over the 30-40 meters, you're going to start having a lot more cone expansion. It's going to be harder for you to hit your target, so you need to just tap fire it. The hip fire, it's not terrible, but it's not super great. It's about in the middle. Yeah, you can rely on the hip fire, but if you go up against, say, someone with a SMG or even an LMG, they might just beat you out with their hip fire. The gun takes up 7 slots. This is a big con here. I know you get a reasonable amount of ammo with it, but still 7 slots. This is basically an LMG, and it doesn't perform as good as an LMG in my eyes. If I'm comparing it to an MG42, you just have less rate of fire, less damage, less range, and it takes up 7 slots. It's hard to achieve since you do need max ribbon, so quite a long grind to get it, plus the 200k credits to buy the gun. The gun is quite expensive when you're using a scope with it, along with decent amount of mods. I know I've spent at least over 50% of my credits, probably more like 80% of my credits from an entire game just because I had the scope and the extra mandatory mods. And the scope, it's a 4x scope. That's pretty historical, I believe. So, but since the assault rifle really, like the range on it and the accuracy isn't so amazing, I would much prefer having the 2x scope. So, not the greatest there. And lastly, yeah, the bullet is fairly mandatory. This should give you a 3-shot kill against silver heavyset. Not convinced if it's a 3-shot against gold. I think the bullet just doesn't do quite enough damage for gold. Alright, so moving on to some brighter points about the Sturmgewehr. It's got a good reload rate. It's got around the same reload rate that you can expect with regular SMGs, 3.2 seconds. That's pretty good reload rate. I know LMGs are going to be over 5 seconds, so you can... Pretty good reload rate. Not much else to say about that. Average clip size, yeah, you get 30, so it's right in there with the SMGs at 30, that's good. It does have a decent iron sight, as shown in the footage. You can line up the guy's body, get some, just, the iron sight is just, it's not terrible. More so, anything within like 30-40 meters or less when using the iron sight. Other than that, I prefer the scope for more, just better range. You can outrange submachine guns, so yeah, fairly often I actually do manage to outrange SMGs, since the SMGs, the damage potential did get nerfed, and I guess the cone fire as well, so yeah, it's pretty decent at outranging SMGs as well. It's just overall the 3-hit kill against anybody, that's good. Yes, you need the bullet to just go beyond the just 3-hit killing anybody, but just 3-hit kill in general is really good to see. It's got good ammo capacity. It's got over 300 with the extra 2 pouches, so max ammo is over 300, and you're probably not going to use that much ammo. I mean, just to give a little perspective, it's got more ammo than a light machine gun, and it fires slower than a light machine gun, so you're definitely going to have plenty of ammo to work with throughout any stage of the match. So I do like the Sturmgewehr. It's got a lot of good things for it. but it also has a lot of bad things going for it too. So yeah, I like it, but it's not my first choice. My first choice as far as Germans go is always the light machine gun. It's just the pros on the LMG just far outweigh the what the Sturmgewehr can offer. So that's about all that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, feel free to post if you got more pros and cons, and I can throw them in here. Thanks for watching. Have a great one, and let me know in the comments what your favorite gun is.